Stop playing with these niggas.
I put hot sauce in everything I eat.
That should be something that I should probably tweet.
Do you really think so?
Nah, delete.
You really think I give a fuck if I'm offbeat?
I'm basically a soldier, they've been trying to draft me.
Being a fat fuck suck, my legs they chaff me.
Got so fat my own body attacked me.
Why the fuck God made something called heart attack? If they associate heart with love, why the heart attack?
Why'd she break my heart but my heart's still intact? Left her in the past like she's a fucking artifact.
How the fuck you gonna talk shit when you drive a Pontiac?
I'm a goddamn nut and I am hard to crack.
If I killed you, I would be very hard to track. I just fucked up and I might have to delete that.
I'm going off the grid like Playboy Cardi.
So much gas, might be farty.
I just blacked out at the party.
Skipping class, always tardy.
Teacher's mad cause I'm tardy.
Fuck the bitch, look like Barbie.
Chew my meat like beef jerky.
In her ass like Thanksgiving turkey.
I like a bitch that has 4 extra servings.
Gotta watch out, demons always be lurking. White people in the water always be surfing.
And I get their daughters wet like sea urchin.
Guns in my coat like a Resident Evil merchant.
Your mother texted me and told me that it's urgent.
I keep the ups away cause they know I'm allergic.
I'm lost up in the flow, I had to start speaking cursive. Why the fuck did I have to learn how to write in cursive?
I smoke a lot of weed, I think I'm a weed person.
I will do some damage, I would recommend nurses.
I mumble a lot, I might have done some curses.
Why are you talking during a show I'm immersed
They
in?
pray about me in the motherfucking churches.
I'm like, thank God. They talking shit, I'm like, no shot.
They said I changed, I'm like, thank God. Somebody killed my op, I just paid God.
Talking about who made who, bitch, you ain't God.
Talking about who made who, no one made me.
She got some big boobies, but she is crazy.
I cannot complain because I am lazy.
Everyone who I pay also pays me. But I promise that this is not a pyramid scheme.
My aim is cracked like an iPhone screen.
I go inside, then I moan cream.
Kanye West had an ultralight beam.
I just have a bean. Also, I have a big
Team, she loves me for my face
cream. Also, she likes my
semen. And I'm about to go motherfucking demon. Murdering the beat for no reason.
wanted in like 30 countries for treason.
Cold hearted in the motherfucking summer season.
Bitch, I disappear like motherfucking Clint Stevens.
Steven, fuck her up, drop top.
Pull up in crop top.
In her mouth, pop rocks.
Had to water her crops. She says she like it a lot.
Had to water her crops, don't know when to fucking stop.
Diddy bop. I like doing crime a lot.
Took out my gun and I made the NPCs
run. So then you talk to me, you're done.
Yeah guys, look, he used the stun.
And if you think we're done, you're dumb. Oh wait, you're dumb. I mean, I'm dumb, I'm dumb.
Pussy, but I'm fasting, so you can suck this dick in the backseat. Then you can go and get your backbeat. Ooh, and I drop my son off at his track meet. Bought a 3K mattress I don't like. All these other people tryna bite. Gigi in the other room, she planned to spike. Sometimes sad and I want to die. Feeling sad is okay, but your bitch is my babe. One shot with the AK, I didn't even have to spray. Make your mama go and break. Then I bust a nut on her face. Can I have more food on my plate? Yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi okay, yalla habibi habibi just bought a Tesla and I went and broke it. Blunt to the face, you know I'm gonna smoke it. Your girl in the front, yeah she right, fuck it. Hey, what's up? Yo, what's up again? How are you? Yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi girl, I would eat that pussy but I'm fasting, so you can suck this dick in the backseat. Then you can go and get your backbeat. Ooh, and I drop my son off at his track meet. Bought a 3K mattress I don't like. All these other people tryna bite. Gigi in the other room, she planned to spike. Sometimes sad and I want to die. Feeling sad is okay, but your bitch is my babe. One shot with the AK, I didn't even have to spray. Make your mama go and break. Then I bust a nut on her face. Yeah. Can I have more filter on my plate? Yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi okay yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi okay yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi yalla habibi habibi okay yalla habibi habibi
Welcome back to another episode of SHIZBANG Does the News. I am your host, SHIZBANG, and I will be hosting your news today.
Girl, I would eat that pussy, but I'm fasting. So
the first thing we're gonna watch
in the backseat, then
is goddamn.
you can go and get your backbeat. And I drop my
And the
song off
title
at
is
his
not
track.
title is not misleading. It's not clickbait. We're watching SHIZBANG reacts to a lawyer reacts to Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. Are you ready? Let's go! Skip that part.
Hi, this is
Goddamn.
Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer.
We're getting right
and
into it, chat.
This is what I look like after a day kicking ass in court. I'm in the middle of a trial, but I'm taking a little break from prep so I can react, go to the well one more time, and talk about Amber Heard as she decides to,
Amber fucking
go
Heard,
and do
chat.
her little publicity tour, right?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why the she's doing this. It just doesn't make sense to me. Let's just see how gracious of a loser she is.
As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in?
Has it sunk in that you lost your fucking ass? Sorry. I'm not gloating because I wasn't even in the trial. But some things that defendants do just defy common sense. All right, let's watch this.
This guy already has a lot to say right off the bat. Now, it's going to be funny because he's going to be pausing Amber Heard. I'm going to be pausing this guy. But this guy already has a lot to say right off the bat. And it's interesting to hear a lawyer's point of view of what Amber Heard is doing on her little, I don't know what you want to call it, loser's lap. All right, let's go.
How could it? Surreal and difficult, in part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you stand?
Notice her hair and makeup. Okay, now as guys, we're not supposed to comment on a woman's presence, but you know what? I'm going to anyway. She actually looks really good. I mean, but notice her makeup was very downplayed.
Yeah, I bet you think she looks really good, you dirty fucking dog. Ow.
During the trial, and now it's a little more Hollywood-ish or movie-esque.
Stand by.
I love every time this guy stops talking, look at the little smirk that gets on his mouth. He feels like, and I like this guy, but every time he talks, you know that he just feels so satisfied with himself on what he just said, because you can see his little smirk on the side of his lips. He goes like, I know you can't see because I have a manly beard, but on this guy, and I like this guy, but every time he talks, when he's done, you see this little smirk on the side of his lips that goes away right away, and you can just tell he's so happy with what he said, happy with himself. And I'm going to be pointing that out throughout this video. And also, furthermore, again, I like this guy. That's why I'm watching his shit. I think it's going to be good and fun. So, yeah, let's go.
Played during the trial, and now it's a little more Hollywood-ish or movie-esque.
You see it? All right. I'm gonna pause it
very down
on it this time
during the trial, and now it's a little more Hollywood-ish or movie-esque.
There it is. So you see that little smirk, and he's like he pushed the unpause button, like he's so satisfied with himself. So throughout this video, you will see this guy smirk like this and do the little unpause tap, and it's going to be really funny. All right, let's go.
Stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse.
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
Here's the danger that she runs by getting on TV and standing by every word she said. This is more publication of the same shit that she talked about before, only it's a little more direct.
Ever heard
He
this
just
guy
did it again.
expose-
Johnny, you hit me.
This is so cringe.
With clips spreading across social media like wildfire.
This is so
The
The
cringe.
vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone.
I'm going to pause it. She's so fucking hot, bro. I would sit on her face big time. And I don't know if my asshole would be by her mouth. I don't know if it would be by her nose with my balls, by her nose with my balls down her throat. I don't know if my asshole would be on her nose or mouth with my each ball on her eyes. Left ball on her right eye, my right ball on her left eye. And I don't know. But I do know her throat looks like it's good at getting deep throat cocked big time. And so she must have a 10K. Oh, wait, what is it? She must have a $7 million pussy. Because that's what Johnny Depp paid. Alright, let's continue.
Haywire gone amok.
She's
Ooh,
fucking
look at
hot.
that face. Oh my god, I stopped it right at I stepped on a bee face. Anyway, here's the thing. To believe what she's saying, it did explode. It exploded for us on this channel, and I'll give her that. It did explode in social media. But to have that have an impact on the jury itself would mean that the jury completely disregarded the judge's instructions. And to impugn the integrity of the jury that way is misplaced without any evidence to back it up.
Muck. And the jury's not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
Really?
Let's back it up.
The jury
Hold
saw
on a
it.
second.
How
Hold on.
could they?
Does it look like she's still trying to put the fake bruise makeup on her fucking face right here to make it look like she got smacked in the head by Johnny Depp yesterday, even though this is after the trial? I mean, to me, it looks like she's still trying to put on her little bruise kit makeup. Trying to make it look like she got smacked in the fucking head right here. That's what it looks like she's trying to do to me. Let's continue on.
They not. I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
Really impossible to not just log into TikTok? Well, sometimes it's impossible for me because I'm a TikTok fanatic, but it's not impossible. Juries take their oath very seriously. I've had situations where a juror has learned about some information and they come back and say later, hey, I learned about this, Judge, and I just wanted everybody to know because I didn't want it to be an issue. And it turns out not to be an issue. But jurors will come forward. They'll talk to each other, and if one says, hey, I learned about this on TikTok, or I learned about this on Instagram, or whatever, guess what? Another juror is going to report them. And so none of that crap happened in this trial, and they were admonished every single day of the trial. You take an oath as a juror, and so to not follow the court's instructions, guess what? You can be found in contempt. And you can be found in contempt by the judge.
Didn't find what I was looking for,
fine
chat.
you or put you in jail if it's criminal contempt. And so, because the judge could find somebody in contempt, they take their oath very seriously, and they know it's a court order. And so for Amber to say that they would disregard the court's order, even the most well-intentioned juror, bullshit. they're gonna take measures to if it comes on TV, they turn it off. If it comes across their phone, they try to avoid it. And so I think she's really disrespecting the jury and the process.
And I'm going to pause this guy right here on his little smirk, which I pointed out earlier. He seems so happy with himself for what he just said. But do you think if you're a juror in this trial, do you think that you really are going to be able to completely avoid social media, completely avoid people that you know talking to you about it, trying to hide the fact that you're a juror, trying not to talk to your friends and family? You know, this guy's saying it's so easy to turn off your phone, but guess what? During this trial, you turn on your phone and the whole shit is all Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp bullshit. And I would bet you $1 million, which I don't have, but if I did, I'd bet you $1 million that at least one of those jurors did see some shit on Twitter, did see some shit on Google News, saw some shit on Facebook, wherever, you know? So, I don't know. Could be wrong. But I think there's a possibility that I'm right. Although I do love Johnny Depp and I wish that motherfucking my favorite pirate, Captain Jack Sparrow, would come back to the Pirates of the Caribbean. Alright, let's continue. And while we continue, we're going to continue. Alright.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying burn the witch, death to Amber. After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans.
Notice she didn't say the Amber Turd line, because I'm sure she doesn't like to hear that at all. That I saw that plenty. But that is a good point, though, because when she talks about, all the people surrounding the courthouse, she may have that she does have a point, because the jury, if my recollection is correct, weren't sequestered. So they're going to run through that gauntlet of fans, and they're going to see the signs and stuff like that. But I'll tell you this, if any of that crap was influencing the jury, they would have brought it to the judge's attention.
Who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words how that felt?
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity.
What does that mean? Removed from my own humanity. I mean, it's a meaningless statement.
I felt less than human.
Let's go back to the...
That is so ridiculous. This is just overacting once more.
The day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident?
That means no. Of course you weren't feeling confident. I was getting my fucking ass kicked.
That's a great question.
It's an easy one.
I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes
sucked,
to
my
you,
lawyer sucked.
but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Okay, she's not talking about anything that happened in the courtroom there. Even if you think I'm lying. Even if you think I'm lying? Even if you think I fucking went into a courtroom and took an oath and then lied, it's not fair to call me all these names on social media. What about inside the courtroom? She's only talking about social media here.
That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife beater.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Here's the thing. Totally different cases. different laws, different standards of proof, different courts, different fact finders. So it's not analogous whatsoever. And what evidence does she have that was suppressed? I mean, there was a lot of evidence. I would say I watched a big chunk of this trial, and this judge let in a whole bunch of shit that I wouldn't have let in if I was the judge, on both sides. So I think the judge was pretty liberal on what she let in and what she didn't let in.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
All right.
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues.
Distracting the juries from what? The fact that I'm a liar? I mean, what Johnny Depp's lawyers did, she threw a softball up there and they hit it out of the fucking park. And they hit it out of the park with facts, with witnesses that were absolutely contradictory to, and she had no answer for those witnesses. So, like, you've got the park, the trailer park manager, you know, completely contradicted her testimony, and she had nobody else to only herself. So that's really what the distraction was. The distraction was, I got my ass kicked.
Some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person.
Oh, shit ass.
But that's what she said. And that just...
You're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, John.
Who's cowering and taking responsibility for something they didn't do.
Then there are other times, there's another tape where you're...
Evidence of what was happening. It was
Shit
evidence
ass.
of negotiation, of how to talk about that.
Here's the thing. They're to back it up. I broke my nose. Okay, where's the evidence?
And not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst.
Here's the thing. What was remarkable...
I have no idea
for
where we
me
were,
in
so
this
we're just
trial,
going to go right here.
and I think for a lot of people, was not the mountain of evidence, the lack thereof. Her claims did not have anything to back it up. I broke my nose. Okay, where's the evidence you broke your nose? No
there we
medical
go.
evidence. And
Is
you
this
know
where
what?
we
I
were?
broke my nose.
Nice,
I
I
got two
figured it
black
out.
eyes, and I had to have my nose packed. Bullshit. She never broke her fucking nose. Then you've got the bruising. 6 days later, there's no contemporaneous pictures of any of the stuff she's talking about.
I figured
But
it out, chat.
they've got Johnny Depp, passed out, with shit on him. They've got Johnny Depp laying on the floor. I mean, all these embarrassing things about Johnny Depp, but nothing about, that where she says the actual assaults happened. That's a problem for her.
But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that.
If you look at the lighting, This is at 4:29. Okay, she almost looks on the right side like she's got a bruise on her cheek, and it's not a bruise.
Yo, and I never saw this video before, but who said that and who called that out? SHIZBANG did. That's right. She made the video to look like she has a bruise on her right cheek. Crazy town. And I called that shit out.
It's just shading from the lighting. But she's gorgeous. I mean, she's really a pretty girl. And you would think, and her
It's
nose
not lighting,
looks
it's her
exactly
fucking makeup,
the same
dude.
as it did when she was.
It's not just lighting, it's her fucking makeup, dude. She literally did the makeup after she lost. She did her makeup to seem like she got, to remind people that she got supposedly beat by Johnny Depp, but still lost the trial. Crazy town.
It was on the James Corden show.
This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation.
Here's the other thing about that. That's a very good point. You have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of all speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, right? Can you do that? No, you cannot. You can't.
You can, except for if you do yell fire in a crowded theater, you better fucking set a fire. I'm just kidding. It's just a joke, guys. Just a joke, chat.
Can't call and make a prank phone call to the cops and have it not be a crime. You can't say whatever you want to say whenever you want to say it. Here's the other thing. The First Amendment only applies to government, okay? So if I'm making a First Amendment...
The First Amendment only applies to government. I'm going to rewind that and make sure I just heard this guy correctly.
Here's the other thing. The First Amendment only applies to government, okay? So if I'm making a First Amendment claim, it only applies if the government's trying to restrict my speech. It doesn't apply to private actors.
And that was the issue in the case.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into, free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream fire. We get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
Really, bitch? It's a freedom to speak truth to power. Anytime I hear anyone say speak truth to power, or speak anything power, or speak my truth, anyone says I'm speaking my truth, that just means you know that the facts are against you and that your truth differs from actual reality, but you need to speak your truth just so everyone knows the way you interpreted whatever fucked up situation you're in. Anytime you ever heard, I need to speak my truth, or yeah, girl, you speak your truth, every single time, it's a girl that's trying to say her truth, her differences are like, or her perception of reality is different than what everyone else is saying what happened, like what the evidence and the facts say. Anyways, let's see what her truth is.
From the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's a freedom to speak truth to power.
But truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
In the closing arguments, the DEPP lawyer said,
I spoke it to power. What does that even mean?
called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
What? Why does it look like she's about to cry? Says the lawyer for the person who convinced the world that he has scissors for fingers. Is that what she just said? Did Johnny Depp really convince the world that he had scissors for fingers? Or did he simply play a character on a movie where that character had scissor hands? I mean, I saw Sleepy Hollow. I didn't believe Johnny Depp really had a pumpkin for a head. He didn't convince the world that he had a pumpkin for a head. And I heard another person say this joke. I think it was a lawyer. But I'm going to steal this joke from some lawyer who I can't remember, but he said, Amber Heard, you convinced the world that you could breathe underwater during the filming of Aquaman 2. So she's out here convincing the world she could breathe underwater. I mean, what are we doing here? Obviously, the Scissorhands movie was not a documentary. He wasn't playing a character, a real character. It was all fiction, and everybody knows that saw it was fiction. Nobody thought that Johnny Depp really had scissors for fingers. So let's rewind. She says that the lawyer, her answer for speaking the truth or her answer for if this was the role of her lifetime on the stand, her response is that that's coming from the lawyer who represents a guy who convinced the world that he had scissors for fingers. So if anyone else here in the world thinks Johnny Depp actually, instead of fingers, has scissors, raise your hand. Yeah. Johnny Depp did not convince the world he had scissors for fingers. He's just a good actor. And by the way, Captain Jack Sparrow is my favorite, man. I'm going to watch Pirates of the Caribbean as soon as this is done. Let's go.
What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
Really? Because he played Edward Scissorhands? Are you really fucking saying that? That makes no sense. But you remember when the acting, and I reacted to this, she had no tears. She pretended like she was crying, and she had no tears. Zero.
Crocodile tears, man. Jason Kiwi knows about crocodiles.
That made no see. Look at that awkward silence. That made no sense.
The performer, I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The DEPP team argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt.
You say you were...
Okay, let's say I'm Amber Heard's lawyer at this
All right,
point.
let's say
I
you're
would
her
advise
lawyer.
her not to do this, because guess what? She already got found liable for defamation. This is no longer a court of law. This is no longer anything. This is her now rehashing the abuse allegations, and she could really open herself up to another lawsuit. She really could.
Responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you say, I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes.
I know much has been made of the evidence in this case. Are you really going to pay attention to the evidence? Just listen to me, because I just stepped on a bee, and now I have to pee. Give me a break.
This guy is a riot,
leaks
dude.
online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation, of how to talk about that.
Here's the thing. Then, if that was the case, why didn't her fucking lawyers bring out the entire thing? There's a rule of evidence called the rule of completion. I think it's 104. And what it means is you can, if somebody brings in part of a recording and it really doesn't tell the whole story, you can bring in the rest of the recording. And so you can tell the whole story. Did you tell the whole story? Don't think you did.
With your abuser.
But I am
Sizzle
looking at
smirk.
a transcript that...
I want to bring the attention back to this man's smirk. Every time he's done saying something, right before he presses play again, he's got this little smirk on he's like... And it's really funny. Because it goes away right away. But every time you can see it. So just watch his smirk and it'll go away right when he's done.
And so you can tell the whole story. Did you tell the whole story? Don't think you did.
With your abuser.
Did
But
you
I
see
am
it?
looking at a transcript that
You saw it,
says-
didn't you?
He
I know you
says,
did.
you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is...
There you go again, relying on the evidence. Why are you relying on the evidence when I just stepped on a bee?
in black and white. I understand context. But you're testifying and
He
you're
did it
telling me
again, by
today,
the way.
I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying...
He's
you
very
did.
As
satisfied
I
with what he
testified
said.
on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk,
She is so fucking hot, bro. Dude. The things that I would do. I mean, seriously. Shout out to Johnny Depp. Clearly, she's crazy as fuck. Let's just realize that she's crazy as fuck. Move past that. But damn. How tall is she? 5'7". Oh my god, that's perfect height. Even though she's nuts as fuck, I mean, you just don't date them. You just hit it and quit it, you know what I'm saying?
Not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically...
And she can breathe underwater, so not only is she sexy as fuck and perfect height, she can also breathe underwater.
Emotionally and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, because it's anything but when you're living in it. But
You're a fucking baby, Johnny. I'll grow the fuck up, Johnny. Give me a break. That's what she said. That's what she said on tape.
I feel like I'm
Or
getting
not
berated
tape,
by
on
this
record,
guy.
'cause everything's digital now. But that's what she said. And that doesn't sound like somebody who's cowering and taking responsibility for something they didn't do.
Then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man,
I haven't
the
seen
victim of domestic violence.
20
There's a little
second
smirk
clips or
again.
the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was.
Do you see how edited this is? She said, I'm not a lawyer. And then it cuts again. When you listen to this, realize how edited this cut is and this take.
The 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to,
See?
I was talking in those recordings as a person in extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
She just sounds like she's full of shit. Okay, I know I'm getting animated. Part of it's because I'm fresh in trial mode, so I'm a little amped up. But she just sounds like she's full of shit.
He
And
says
it
he
doesn't-
never hit you.
He can't-
Never. Is
yeah.
that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
What?
This is what I'm telling you. She's really putting herself at risk for another lawsuit. I don't know. I don't think he's going to go to the well a second time, but he very well would have a claim and relitigate this whole thing with these new publication of the same old facts.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to call any of his witnesses any names. I'm here to just kind of talk about it from what it felt like for me as a person who sat there.
See, now, here's the thing. If you're her PR person, the PR person has no concept of...
Do you guys ever see a picture of Amber Heard's sister? Amber Heard's sister? Because I was honestly gonna stream the trial, but instead I just watched it by myself, like a nerd, like a loner, incel, fucking loser. But her sister testified, and she's polar opposite of of Amber Heard. So this is Amber Heard and her sister, right? Look at this. Look how beautiful Amber Heard is, and her sister looks like a fucking ogre. Her forehead is twice the size. Her eyebrows twice as thick, not nice and rounded. The eyes, just no. The nose, twice as big, and not pretty like Amber Heard's. And I mean, this jawline, manly. So you got Amber Heard with all the good looking pretty genes, and then you got Amber Heard's fucking ogre sister over here looking like Shrek's wife. I mean, good God.
The legality of what she's doing. And you're on the losing side of things. And really, there's absolutely nothing to be gained. I don't think she's gaining any. You know, I suppose people say in Hollywood, any publicity is good publicity, bad, good, or indifferent. But in this case, she doesn't come off like taking the higher road, you know.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was, because she never took responsibility for anything she did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship.
Here's the thing. Is she able, in the course of this interview, to say anything that, you know, either is mea culpa, I did this wrong or that wrong, or say anything that makes you feel, oh, you know what, I can understand why she said those things, or just put herself in a positive light? She's on the complete defensive throughout this whole interview, and I think she should have just let it breathe.
I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to me.
Man named Machine, for some reason, Heard doesn't do it for me sexually. I think it's a personality. It makes her very unattractive. I'm saying, though, I understand that, but you have to be able to separate her, whatever she's saying and what she's done, from the way that she looks. You have to be able to separate that. It's just like how you have to be able to separate the work from the artist. Just like Michael Jackson. You can enjoy, you know, you can enjoy Thriller, or It Don't Matter If You're Black or White. You can enjoy Michael Jackson music, right? But also understand that Michael Jackson may have done some questionable things. There are people who like movies that are movie buffs. What is that guy? Wood Allen? This guy, Wood Allen, banged his kid. Or some shit. I'm not a movie guy. But people are able to separate his work from his real self. And furthermore, R. Kelly, you know, these are my confessions, yet I'm broke and I don't know what to do, but I guess I gotta give you part 2 of my confessions. You gotta be able to separate the songs and the good art that he did from the weird shit that he himself is doing. Get what I'm saying? You have to give yourself the license to like good music or movies or whatever it is, no matter what, whoever the fuck did it. And that's for me. And a lot of people are that same way. Otherwise, they're going to steal too much away from us. The Constitution was written by people who probably had slaves or whatever. So, you know, you're going to let that ruin it for you? I don't think so. Furthermore, even though she's saying dumb shit, she's crazy, absolutely psycho, you wouldn't want to actually be in a relationship with her. Taking all that away, just her looks, very attractive. Like, 8.9 out of 10.
Myself ways.
Bullshit.
There's so much, I have so much regret. I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent where I didn't even know the difference between, right and wrong. I will always
To the point where she didn't even know right from wrong. Does that make any sense? She's just, she should have had these canned answers. I don't know who her PR person is, but she should have had much better answers. And she certainly could have taken the high road and say, you know what, it's unfortunate that we lost. I do stand by my testimony. I'm not going to rehash what my testimony was. But here's what I'm going to do going forward. You've heard politicians dodge questions. She should have dodged the question and tried to put herself, tomorrow I'm going to be a better person. I'm not going to do the same things I did in that relationship, but here's how I'm going to go forward. And make herself sound like she's learned from this situation and become a better person. But instead, she's on the defensive.
continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship, because I was.
When you see this, that's like, you're full of shit. You're just, in other words, she's not believing what she's saying.
And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. We were awful.
She is a very, very bad actress. When you look at her right now, I'm going to mute it and just look at her face. She's pathetic. That's
we were awful.
pathetic acting.
I made a lot of mistakes.
Her hair, though,
A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
Yeah, she is a pathetic actress. It is very bad.
I've always told the.
I'm not even cringing.
Well,
because
that's our reaction to Amber Heard's.
It's not even
foray
cringeworthy.
Into the live, or not live, but into the interview with Savannah Guthrie. I thought Savannah Guthrie did
All right, what's
a
your
good
closing
job.
thoughts, Mr. Letterman?
But it really, she really should have picked and chose who she was going to do this in front of, how she was going to do it, had been a little more careful, instead of just rehashing how she got her ass kicked. And that's really what it came down to. And like Savannah Guthrie said, she didn't take responsibility for anything except for maybe saying that she, said some things that were bad. But she never started a fight, even though she said she started a fight. Anyway, I don't think it was wise. It was, she came off even worse than Elaine did, if that was possible. So, and here's the thing, I don't really have a axe to grind, either with Amber Heard.
Elaine is Amber Heard's lawyer who lost, who then went on public TV and they're like just making a shit show of herself.
Or Johnny Depp. I could kind of give a shit less about either one of them. I like Johnny Depp. I love his movies. I thought he testified in a charming and kind of self-effacing way.
Same.
And he didn't get rattled. She got rattled.
Same.
In fact, you can tell the angst on her face that she knows this interview is not going the way she was hoping. And it's over. It's done. They're going to have an appeal, but so the fuck what? So this is Bruce Rivers, Criminal Lawyer Reacts, reacting to Amber Heard's foray into the post-conviction or post-verdict publicity. So thank you for watching. Subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Sign up for Patreon. We're doing some good work there. We've got a message we're trying to sell, and Amber should have taken heed of that message. Stop yourself snitching, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
And this guy was interesting, and he was kind of correct that he said Amber Heard was kind of erratic on the stand, and Johnny Depp was really calm and collected. So I just want to show an example of that, about how calm and collected Johnny Depp was, and how, yeah, so let's watch this.
What was the photograph of Mr. Depp?
It was a photograph of the bed, our bed, And on my side of the bed, was human fecal matter. She was sitting on one side of the couch, I was sitting on the other. That's when she was trying to explain
DVD of Mordecai.
a few things about Coachella, and then the fecal
nature
delivery.
Fecal delivery.
Saying that it was the dogs. And I'm sorry, I could not agree with her. I'd lived with those dogs. I picked up their
Who's
fun.
this guy? I'll tell you his
It
name
was
in a
not
second. CLR Bruce Rivers. I think it's CLR Bruce Rivers. Because we're going to watch this next one right here. Yeah, one more. Fecal. Excuse me. He goes, fecal delivery. He just keeps talking, like, ridiculous. Alright, scroll down. CLR Bruce Rivers, right here. CLR Bruce Rivers. Criminal lawyer Bruce Rivers. He's even verified, so there you go. 683k subs, that's how I know it's the right one.
Bruce Rivers.
Alright, this is the next video we're watching here. This one is entitled Criminal Lawyer Reacts to Amber Heard's Attorney's Post-Verdict Shenanigans on Talk Shows. So, the title of the stream now is becoming SHIZBANG Reacts to Criminal... You know what? Let me take a drink before I try this. Cheers, everybody. Drink! SHIZBANG reacts to criminal... SHIZBANG reacts to criminal lawyer reacts to Amber Heard's attorney's post-verdict shenanigans on talk shows. Let's go!
Certified criminal defense lawyer, where I actually don't do just this. I love doing this, but I actually go across the street to the courthouse and try cases. Now, today we are reacting to post-verdict shenanigans by the Amber Heard team. Now, notice there was just one brief statement from the Johnny Depp team, just thanking everybody, and and it was very short, very sweet, and that's it. You haven't seen them make the rounds on the talk show circuit. They may or may not, but I think here's the problem that Amber Heard's team has. They're going forward and making statements that she's a domestic abuse victim, and they don't have a verdict to support that. But let's kind of watch what Elaine had to say, and then I'll react to it on the other side of it.
A Virginia jury's decision to side with Johnny Depp in his defamation lawsuit is drawing both condemnation and praise. The verdict came after 6 weeks of very dramatic testimony from both sides. She claimed that he abused her, while he said she was the abuser. In his reaction, Depp wrote, "The goal of bringing the case was to reveal the truth, and that truth never perishes."
I've had a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people talk about this notion that this has set the women's movement back, or the Me Too movement back. The light of day is not going to put any movement back. Facts are what rule the day. And if a woman is to be believed, which they should be believed, but it should withstand scrutiny, and the facts got in the way of Amber Heard.
And that's true. Elaine, Amber Heard's lawyer, came out and went on all these talk shows or whatever, and she was saying, Amber Heard said this herself. This sets back women who were abused, so many years, and they're saying this just goes to show that women shouldn't be believed, or still aren't being believed, and all that bullshit. And they're saying that women who were abused, this is just showing them to not speak out and stuff like that. But here's the thing. She had a recording of Johnny Depp beating his own cabinets in his house that he owns. And he's worth millions of dollars. And he can do whatever the fuck he wants in his own house. He can beat the cabinets or whatever bullshit that he wants in his own fucking house. And when it comes to Amber Heard, she keeps recording him and setting up these records thinking that he's gonna snap or some shit. But at no point in any of these candid recordings that she does he ever snap and start to beat her ass or anything. Even with the one that he finds out that she's recording, the one where he's beating the cabinets, he like pours a big ass mega pint of vodka, and then actually it's wine, mega pint of wine I meant, and then he's like, oh, are you recording on this fucking thing? And they like fuck around with the phone, but he never beats her ass. And even when he said that he beat her ass, and then the next day she went to get a restraining order, and she like had the paparazzi there and made it look like she had a bruise on her face, but she really didn't have a bruise on her face. She even talked about she brought up having a bruise kit, which is a theatrical makeup kit to make a bruise on your face. Trust me, I know all this because I did a deep dive into this trial. I was really watching it. And the one thing that really got me was that she said that she got pussy raped with the Maker's Mark bottle from Johnny Depp. I don't know if you guys ever seen a Maker's Mark bottle, but the motherfucker is wide. I don't know. Pretty much is this big. So you think, I don't know, maybe she's talking about this part or whatever, but if you got pussy raped with one of these big things, like this wide, and you never went to the hospital, and you're bleeding out of your vajay, first of all, was she sure it wasn't blood and not this, the wax? But second of all, if you're bleeding, that probably means it went down to here, and if you were, you didn't go to the hospital, that just means you're a liar. They're just straight up, the chick was straight up lying. I mean, you would go to the hospital in those under those circumstances.
Elaine Charlson Bredehoff is the attorney for Amber Heard and is with us now. And we should mention, we did also reach out to Johnny Depp's team, but they declined to be interviewed this morning. Elaine, thank you. We're so very glad you're here.
Thank you.
We heard Amber's reaction to the verdict yesterday. This seems to be a huge victory for Johnny Depp this morning.
Yeah, a major setback for women, for women
Bullshit.
inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Because?
Because basically what this said, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence, although a lot of it was suppressed in this case as opposed to the UK. But look at all the women who have no evidence.
So Amber Heard had a lot of evidence. She didn't have any photographs of any injuries. And there were several rebuttal witnesses who completely contradicted her. And in fact, she didn't have really hardly any witnesses that corroborated her to a degree that she was discredited on rebuttal.
All these women who suffer from domestic violence, domestic abuse, they don't have evidence. And basically what this jury said is unless you pull out your cell phone and you tape record your spouse beating you.
That isn't what they said. There were so many things that were absolutely provably false. And I think that's, remember what I said a while back? Falso in uno, falso in omnibus. If you're lying about one thing, you're lying about everything.
Was that Latin? I think he was just speaking Latin. Let's go back and re-listen to that.
Absolutely provably false. And I think that's, remember what I said a while back? Falso in uno, falso in omnibus.
Falsu nunu, falsu nominibus. Alright, I got you.
You're lying about one thing, you're lying about everything. That's the credibility of a witness.
Oh, it means you're lying about
You're
one
out of
thing,
line.
you're lying
I
about
think it was
everything.
bigger than that because you had the evidence, as you say, but they did not believe her. Why do you think they did not believe her?
I think that a lot of that was that it was Johnny Depp.
Not the facts of the case. No. It couldn't be that they shoved a bunch of rebuttal witnesses up her ass and completely contradicted her with facts. It has nothing to do with Johnny Depp. Why weren't there, you know, she goes to the courthouse with a bruise on her face, supposedly, 6 days after she had seen him with no makeup on. And she didn't set that up. She set that.
I think the celebrity status.
But she's a celebrity too.
And it's not only not
she's
believing her.
but she's a celebrity too.
Right.
Here's the problem. You're on this losing side. To be honest with you, nothing can be gained by her making this appearance on TV, honestly. You know, I think it was smart for the Depp team to decline and not be public about this. I'm sure Johnny Depp says, I don't want this. I don't want you to trash her. I don't want you to say anything about her. And now you've got Elaine kind of going ham on Johnny Depp.
But you have to remember, it's a tale of two trials. All the evidence came in the UK. Mr. Depp brought that one. The burden of proof was on the son in the UK because they had called him a wife beater and talked about the domestic violence.
See, in the UK, Amber Heard wasn't a defendant. So it just was, it's not really analogous at all.
He had his opportunity to tell the truth then. And a 3-week trial, he lost. The judge found 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence. And that came out November 2, 2020. We weren't allowed to tell the jury that.
Well, it's a different system, and the judge, it wasn't a jury, it was a judge. The judge said it was substantial.
And it's a completely different set of facts in terms of, you know, you've got a different parties. And whatever that verdict over there was has no bearing on what the jury is going to consider in this case.
Really true, and that is significant, and I think surprised a lot of legal analysts. But you know, in this case, the jury not only didn't believe Amber Heard, but in ruling that she acted with actual malice, that means she had the intent to cause harm, right? That's a pretty high standard to have proven.
And it's pretty amazing since the op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp. You have to remember that. What they learned from the UK case.
The op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp. But didn't Amber Heard, in her testimony, she said it was about him. And then the jury believed her when she said that.
First of all, look at his smirk. Second... I gotta stop hitting my vape before
is to demonize Amber, which is what they did, and to try to suppress as much of the evidence that came in the UK and did not come in the United States. But the other problem is we had...
That's what I want to talk about. She keeps talking about the UK case, the UK trial, from, like, what is it, the Sun publication, which is a newspaper or something, that Johnny Depp actually lost. But everybody knows that the UK court is kangaroo court. UK trial is kangaroo court. And Johnny Depp knows it, and Americans know it. That's... Why do you think that American court, this Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, why do you think they didn't allow any of the shit from the UK trial into this courtroom? It's because they know that UK court is fucked. It's not, you know, UK court is kangaroo court, and they knew that. And that's why they didn't even allow shit from the kangaroo court into American real judicial system. All right, let's continue on.
Cameras in the courtroom. So here we had not only did...
It's everybody's fault but mine.
We have a group of DEPP fans that were there every day. 100 were allowed in. They lined up at 1 o'clock in the morning for their wristbands to be in that courtroom. But we had everything on camera, and we had tremendous social media that was very, very, very much against Amber. Very.
It was pointed out that that was the first time that a victim of sexual abuse had to testify on live television.
And I fought hard and lost that battle. It should not have happened.
Most laws about cameras in the courtroom, if one party wants them in, they come in.
So I am a former NFL player, and after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up
you are.
and point to the other
Nate
side.
Burleson, by the way.
Oftentimes, I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror.
That's Nate Burleson, former wide receiver for the Detroit Lions in the NFC North. Perpetually 4th place. Always lost to Aaron Rodgers. My quarterback. Go Pack Go, baby.
What mistakes did I make as a player? What mistakes did our coaching staff make? And then how can we
A
improve
lot.
from there?
Both.
Do you
Both
feel like
of
you
you
guys
made
made
a lot of
any mistakes along the way?
As a player, you may have not made a lot of mistakes, but as a coaching staff, your coaching staff's made a ton of mistakes.
You feel like Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand? Because you're saying it's the celebrity, it's Johnny, it's the people who support him. But what about you and your team?
Now that is an excellent...
Why is Nate Burleson... Wait, that's Nate Burleson, right? Yeah, it is. Alright. So why the fuck is Nate Burleson interviewing Amber Heard's lawyer anyways? What the fuck is happening here? Canadian born? So he can't even vote? Best not hear this man talking about politics on TV. By the Vikings? Drafted by the Vikings? Yeah, I remember him on the Lions. What year did you go to the Lions? 2010. Yeah. So yeah, before this, I don't remember any of this shit. Seahawks, Vikings. So this guy, first of all, the Vikings are the Packers' like #1 blood enemy. Fuck the Vikings, fuck Minnesota, and I hate Vikings fans. Worse than Browns fans. Worse than Bears fans. Bears fans, I don't hate. Vikings fans, I do hate. Seahawks fans, or not the fans themselves, but the Seahawks, I also fucking hate. So we got Nate Burleson on the two teams that I fucking hate, and then going to another division rival where we just wiped our ass with their team for his entire tenure on the Detroit Lions. But my question is this: why is this wide receiver from the Detroit Lions interviewing this fucking chick? The lawyer for Amber Heard. That's my question.
Mistakes did I make as a player?
Check religion. I don't know what his religion is. There's no early life on. Oh, here, early years. Here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Father, brothers, football, basketball. USFL. Canada. No, I don't see anything about it. I don't see anything about it.
Player, what mistakes did our coaching staff make? And then how can we improve from there? Do you feel like you guys made any mistakes along the way? Do you feel like Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand? Because you're saying it's the celebrity, it's Johnny, it's the people who support him. But what about you and your team?
Now that is an excellent point. And the thing about it is, it's really hard for somebody who charges about $6 million to defend Amber Heard to say they made a mistake. And you sit there, she's not going to self-snitch. I mean, that's just not what she's going to do.
Well, and that's an excellent question. And to say, and you know, Amber even said on the stand, I am not perfect.
Okay, let's blame Amber.
I am a human being. These people were giving her death threats. They threatened to microwave her baby. This is the kind of social media she was getting.
So microwaving the baby is why you lost the case. That's something you did wrong?
So are any of us perfect? No.
Genius.
Is there something else we feel we should have done? Yes, I absolutely. I redo my closings 100 times afterwards, whether I win or lose. That's part of being a good lawyer, a good trial lawyer is.
Right. Bullshit. I don't redo my closing 100 times. If you literally redid your closing 100 times, guess what? You're indecisive and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Pardon my French.
There's always something. But I think that there were a lot of influences here that were beyond our control. And I think the social media, it was like a Roman Colosseum. It is the best way to describe the atmosphere here. And I have to believe that the jury, even though they're told not to go and look at anything, they have weak.
So now it's the jury's fault for looking at social media. So, I mean, so it's the judge, it's Amber's imperfect, she's pointing any fingers back at herself.
Yeah, I gotta say, her lawyer was not good. She didn't object. She was terrible at cross-examinations. At one point, she was like, she took a deep breath. She's like, I'm trying my best. Because she was trying to elicit a response from a witness, but she's trying to do it in a way that wasn't going to be objected to by Camille Vasquez. And it was so interesting to listen to her because it was like, watch this. Just watch this. All right, just watch this one.
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Oh, it's fucking Asmongold, lol. But just realize here that Camille Vasquez is just shutting down this lawyer. Camille is shutting down Amber Heard's lawyer, and it's really hilarious to watch. And she quits. She
Objection,
pretty
Your
much
Honor. Lack of
quits.
foundation.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
And what, if anything, did you produce to the plaintiff in connection with your consultation with an ENT specialist?
She's about to do it.
Relating to your nose?
Objection, leading,
Sustain.
foundation, hearsay.
What if anything? It's not the cure-all. It's sustain.
Bro, this is...
What, if any, production did you make to the plaintiffs of your medical records with the ENT?
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
If you only have foundation.
Do you
Look
know
at her face.
whether the medical records
Oh my
from
God.
your EMT were produced in discovery in this
Objection,
case?
Your Honor. Lack of foundation calls for
Oh my
speculation.
God.
I'm asking.
Overruled if she knows.
Thank you.
Getting shut down.
Great, we've made progress. Yes.
And do you recall? I'm trying. What,
See?
if anything,
If that was your lawyer, and you were rich as fuck and this was being broadcast for millions of people, and you were spending millions of dollars, and your lawyer says this.
I'm trying.
On the fucking stand in trial. What, I mean, come the fuck on. What are we doing? She goes, I'm trying. I'm trying. Like, no, you're not up there trying. You should be prepared. You should know she should know the shit before she even went up there. Just like the beautiful Camille Vasquez did.
What, if anything, did the medical records reflect about your nose?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Do you have injuries to your nose?
Yes.
Please describe those to the jury.
Oh, okay. Now we're back into fan
I'm
fiction.
going to
A bunch of
object
scar
to
tissue.
I'm going to object to the extent it calls for hearsay and lack of foundation
Overruled.
and improper expert opinion.
Well,
She can certainly testify to.
we'll see where it goes. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes.
I have a significant amount of scar tissue in my nose.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, ma'am, you can have a seat.
Shut down, baby.
Yeah, I bet. 3 out of 100 questions accepted. Yeah, exactly. That was terrible for them. That was really, man, that was bad.
Lol.
No.
Weekends, they have families, they have
Yeah, they were
social
not
media.
sequestered. They were not sequestered.
And the 10-day period we had, how could they not have been influenced?
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, it got huge views. It just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides, And I think for a lot of people from the outside looking in thought both of them were not telling the truth, and that they mutually abused each other. Do you not believe that that was the case?
No, and that's one of the many misnomers. The way that DEPP's team approached this was based on ignorance of domestic violence.
The way the DEPP team approaches is to kick your ass.
It completely ignored the cycle of violence and just said, oh, she wouldn't have done this if he had been hitting her. That was their approach.
So you thought that they weren't fighting fair?
Correct. I don't think they were fighting fair.
Objection. 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 I'm trying here, Judge. I'm trying. I mean, what the hell?
Right.
I think Amber Heard is, in fact, a
Which we
survivor
just saw.
of domestic violence.
Yes, I absolutely believe that, and there's a tremendous amount of evidence.
The problem is she could run into some defamation problems herself.
Much of which did not come into this trial, did come into the UK trial. We even had more evidence. We had medical records. We had mental health records that went back to 2012 that were contemporaneous. We had text messages from Mr. Depp's assistant saying, when I told him that he had kicked you, he cried.
So how
That
is she
didn't come
today,
in.
Elaine? How is she today? What is
heartbroken.
her next move?
She's right. Well, her next move is appeal. There were
But
a
she's
number.
heartbroken,
She is.
She ain't gonna appeal it. She's worth what? -8 million. She's donated $7 million synonymously with pledged to a couple charities, and now she owes 8.3. So she's worth the -8 million and net worth. And so is she gonna have to now put a bond up? She's gonna have to put a bond up for at least 10 million plus. That's the amount of the judgment plus attorney's fees.
Is heartbroken, and one of
Yikes.
the first things that she said.
Actually, I heard that Johnny Depp most likely will not collect. Johnny Depp and his attorneys have said this many times before the trial, after the trial, during the trial, and they made it very clear. Johnny Depp is not in it for the money. He does not care about the money. He just had to do this to clear his name, to show that he's not a domestic abuser, so that he could get back working with Disney on a $250 million guaranteed contract to be Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean 6 or Pirates of the Caribbean, the new series, Pirates of the Caribbean, featuring Johnny Depp. Doesn't matter. You know, but now that his name is cleared, and they kicked him off and fired him off Pirates of the Caribbean, the last one he was on was 4. Number 5 he was not on, and it did shitty. And who knows, I don't know how much he made for number 5, but he said the way that they treated him, the way that the Disney execs treated him, and when they kicked him off, that he would never work with Disney again, which makes it seem like he would never play Captain Jack Sparrow again. But everyone in the world knows that money talks and bullshit walks. So I don't know how much he made on Pirates 4, but on Pirates of the Caribbean 6, if they just straight up give him $250 million, come back with Captain Jack Sparrow, the kids will love it. Personally, I will love it. And everyone's going to make a shitload of money. And everyone will be happy. So that's what I hope happens. I hope there's a happy ending involving Captain Jack Sparrow.
When she came back from the verdict.
Yeah, Doug Stanhope actually is a good friend of Johnny Depp, which was surprising when I found that out.
When we went into the conference room was, I am so
That's
sorry to
so
all
surprising
these
when I
women.
found it out.
That's-
He said that?
Yes, she felt
He's a
like
good
she
comedian.
had let down
And
all of these women.
he's a good actor.
Because she had...
Johnny
She
Depp.
did, because she used the fake domestic abuse to further her ends.
had more evidence than most people do, and yet they still didn't believe her.
Elaine Charleston, Bredehoff, thank you so much for...
So that's her on the ABC Morning Show. Let's just take a glimpse. We're not going to play the whole thing, but let's see what happens with her on the Today Show.
Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Charleston, Bredehoff, good morning to you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
You know, one of the first things she said is, I am so
Gee, it sounds similar to what she just said. I mean, this is going to be word for word.
sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback for all women in and out.
And how is it a setback? Because it's a setback if you aren't really getting beaten and you're lying about getting pussy raped with a fucking Maker's Mark bottle. And it's a setback if you're lying about getting beat in the fucking face and you're recording some bullshit. Like, get real.
Inside the courtroom, and she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned
Good
that
point.
the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, you know, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials.
Sounds similar?
Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case. And
It isn't the same case. It is not the same case. It was a case against a newspaper.
the burden of proof was easier for him there. The Sun had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence.
Totally different process there, totally different standard, and you only have one fact finder, and that is the judge in that case.
Against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. In
other words, challenge the facts.
We had an enormous amount of evidence that was...
I'm not going to play the rest of it, but you get the gist. I don't think it's wise for Elaine to go on these shows. I mean, you're the losing side, and you're not taking any responsibility for losing, and everybody has a problem except for you.
And we're going to cut this here too, chat. So thanks a lot for joining us today, and we'll